Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Elkonn here, and in today's video, as you can already tell by the title and thumbnail, I'm indeed going to be doing a quirk tier list. So from S rank, which is the top tier, to D, which is the bottom tier, on how good the quirks actually are. Now, the first tier list we're going to go through from S to D is only going to determine the damage and crit chance and nothing else. That's the only stat we're going to focus on for the quirks to determine how good they actually are. Then the next tier list we're going to get into is all the stats the quirks actually do and what they actually do, like luck, ability damage, attack speed, all that types of stuff, so you can determine which quirks are good for which specific stat. That's what we're doing today. If you guys do end up enjoying this video, then make sure to smash the like button and click that subscribe button for more videos just like this one. Without further ado, let's get on into the tier list. As you can see, we got the first tier list up here from S rank to D rank, S being the top damage and top crit chance, and D being the lowest damage and lowest crit chance. So like I said, we're only going to be focusing on damage and crit chance and judge the quirk based on that. Now, I totally understand some quirks have other stats that make it a lot better than other quirks, but we're only going to be focusing on damage and crit chance because that's what a lot of people focus on. So that's what we're going to be judging the quirks on. Also, we're only going to be focusing on the mythical and cosmic quirks. If you see the legendary ones in here, they're not going to be used in this tier list, and they're only going to be used in the other one. So let's get on into it. So the first quirk they're going to get right into is Leprechaun. The Leprechaun only has a 1.1 times damage multiplier, and it has 0 crit chance whatsoever. So you guys can probably guess where I'm going to put this on the tier list for damage and crit chance, and that's going to be in the D tier because, well, it's not really a damage focused quirk, so it doesn't really make sense to use it for a damage or crit chance. Now, the next quirk that we're going to get into is Sniper. Now, Sniper has a 1.2 times multiplier of damage and a 60% crit chance, and also a 100% crit damage. So overall, this quirk is really good for crit chance and crit damage, but when it comes down to a damage multiplier, it's not really the greatest. And even though Sniper has a really low damage multiplier, I feel like the crit chance makes up for it a lot more, so we are going to put this in the S tier. A lot of people could disagree, but I feel like if you match this with the right quirk, it's going to be super overpowered, such as matching it with like Black Hole or Celestial or some other damage quirk like Giant. Now, the next quirk that we're going to get right into is Thief. Now, Thief has a 1.25 times damage multiplier, just 0.5 above Sniper, and it has 0 crit chance whatsoever. So really, with the damage, I feel like it's good, but at the same time, it's just not as good as the other quirks. So I'm actually going to give it the benefit of the doubt and put it in the C category. The next quirk that we're going to get into is Assassin. Now, Assassin's an overall pretty decent quirk. It actually has a 1.5 times damage multiplier, and it has a 20% crit chance. So overall, it's really not that bad. It has a good crit chance and a good damage multiplier, and put it in the A tier. The next quirk that we're going to get into is Archmage. Now, Archmage has a 1.5 times damage multiplier, and it has 0 crit chance whatsoever. So even though this quirk does have a good damage multiplier, it doesn't have a crit chance. So I'm going to give this a B rank because it is a lot better than Thief with damage, but not in crit chance. So I feel like we're going to put it in between. Now, the next quirk that we're going to get into is Giant. Now, Giant is super overpowered when it comes down to damage, and it also has crit chance. So it has a 2.5 times damage multiplier and a 20% crit chance. So if you've guessed it already, Giant is going right in the S tier because this quirk is super overpowered. And the next quirk that we're going to get into is Black Hole. Now, Black Hole is a cosmic quirk that is super overpowered as well, giving you a 2 times damage multiplier and a 30% crit chance. So it has both of them. They're also a really good multiplier and percentage, so we're going to put this in the S tier as well. Now into the last and final quirk that we got for the tier list for damage and crit chance, and that is Celestial, which is the brand new quirk that just got added in the last update, giving you a 1.6 times damage multiplier and a 30% crit chance. So this overall has a really good damage multiplier. It's 0.10 better than Assassin, and it also has a better crit chance than Assassin. So we're actually going to put this right here on the A tier side by side because it's not really an S tier, but it's also basically the same as Assassin, so we're going to put it in the A tier. Now, if you guys do agree or disagree with me, let me know in the comment section down below. I would love to hear you guys' feedback on where you guys rank these quirks and where they should actually go. Now that we got to rank these quirks and I showed you guys the best quirks for damage and crit chance, let's get into my other tier list to where we can actually go through the other stats and what quirk is better for those specific stats. Now into the second tier list where we're actually going to put these quirks in specific categories for a specific stat that it's really good for. So for example, you can see I got luck, attack speed, XP, movement speed, ability damage, boss damage, and drops. Now some of these quirks are going to go in different categories and even the same category because they cover different stats. Now we're not going to be covering damage or crit chance because, well, I already showed you guys the best ones for that. So let's get into all the other stats of all the other quirks. So the first quirk that we're going to get into is Leprechaun. So the luck multiplier for Leprechaun is a 1.2 times multiplier, making it the best luck quirk in the game. Now the second quirk that we're going to get into for luck is Lucky 3. Now Lucky 3 actually does basically the same amount of luck percentage that Leprechaun does, but it all depends on the tier. So if you got tier 3, it does a 1.15 times multiplier. If you got luck 2, it does a 1.1, and if you got luck 1, it does a 1.05. So making it a really good luck quirk as well, but just not better than Leprechaun. And the next category we got is attack speed. So for attack speed, we got a bunch of quirks that are actually really good. The first one we got is Thief. The second one we got would be Leprechaun as well, which was actually surprising. And the next one we got is Celestial. Now, like 90% of all quirks pretty much do attack speed, such as like all the mythicals and stuff. So I'm just going to show you all the ones that actually have attack speed. So another one that has attack speed is Giant, but just not a lot of attack speed. Another one that has attack speed is Assassin. Another one that has attack speed is Black Hole, and also Teleport and Fast. So these are all the quirks that actually do attack speed. But the best ones for attack speed would be Thief, Leprechaun, and Celestial because they all do the same amount of attack speed, and that is a 2 times multiplier. Now the only quirk we got for XP would be Genius. Now what Genius actually does is it takes off the amount of required XP that the character needs. Now if you're someone that's tired of leveling up your characters because it takes too long, then I definitely recommend putting Genius 1 through 3 on your character because it will make him level up a lot faster. Genius 1 does a 0.9 percentage of the XP required. Genius 2 does a 0.8 percentage off of the required XP, and Genius 3 does a 0.67, which is the best percentage for taking off the required amount of XP. Now into the next stat, which is movement speed. So all the quirks for movement speed that actually, make your character a lot faster would be Black Hole, Celestial, Assassin, Thief, and Leprechaun, and Fast 1, 2, and 3. Now the best quirks to make your character super fast with the highest percentage of movement speed would be Celestial, coming in with a 4 times multiplier for movement speed. Then we got Black Hole with a 3 times multiplier. We also got Fast 3 coming in with a 3 times multiplier as well. Teleport. Now Teleport is a really good quirk for movement speed, coming in with a 3 times multiplier. Now the best possible quirks with the highest amount of percentage for movement speed would be Black Hole and Celestial. Celestial has the best multiplier for movement speed, making your character super fast, coming in with a 4 times multiplier, and then second is Black Hole with a 3 times multiplier. Now if you want a mythical quirk that does movement speed, then you will go with Assassin, Leprechaun, and Thief because they all do a 2 times movement speed multiplier. Now to the next stat, which is ability damage. Now the only quirks that do ability damage in the game as of right now is Black Hole, Archmage, and we got Sorcerer 1 through 3. These are the only quirks that do ability damage. Now the best possible quirk for ability damage would be Archmage, with a 2 times multiplier, bringing it in as the highest quirk with the highest ability damage multiplier. Now if you don't feel like going for a mythical quirk for ability damage, then you could just substitute it out with Sorcerer 3, which is a 1.5 times multiplier. It's not too big of a difference, so it's definitely a lot easier to get, so I definitely recommend getting Sorcerer 3 if you don't feel like getting Archmage. But the ones that do are Celestial and Assassin. Now Celestial is the best quirk in the game for boss damage, bringing it with a 2 times multiplier, and then you got Assassin with a 1.5 times multiplier. But that is the only quirks that actually do boss damage multiplier. Now onto the last and final stat that we're going to be covering today is drops. Now the only quirks that increase your drop multiplier are Thief and Collector 1 through 3. But the best possible quirk to increase the amount of drop multiplier that you actually have is Collector 3. I'm pretty sure they still have Thief nerfed with a 1.09 times multiplier. Now I could be mistaken. The old stats for Collector 1 through 3 are 1 coming in with a 1.05 times drop multiplier, 2 being a 1.15 times multiplier, and Collector 3 being a 1.25 times multiplier. Now you're probably thinking, Elkonn, how is Collector 2 and 3 better than Thief when it comes down to drop multiplier? Well, that's because Collectors only focus on stats stats is drop multiplier, and Thief does a lot more, such as, 1.25 damage, 2 times attack speed, 2 times movement speed, and also giving you a yen multiplier. So that's why it is pretty low compared to Collector 1, 2, and 3. Now, when Thief first came out, it used to be a drop multiplier focused quirk, but now it's not since they nerfed it. So the best one to go with would be Collector 2 and 3, because that automatically is better than Thief, and it's also a lesser rarity of a quirk. But that's pretty much all to both of my tier lists. I really hope you guys did enjoy this video, and hopefully you found it helpful. If you guys have any questions or concerns about any of the ranks in the tier list, or if you think I'm wrong, let me know in the comment section down below. I would love to hear your guys' feedback. Without further ado, this is the end of the video, so make sure to smash the like button to show me that you enjoyed it. Click that big red subscribe button to support the channel, and click the notification bell to never miss an upload. Thank you guys again for watching, and I'll catch you guys all in the next video. Peace out, everybody.